Today's lesson is on parallel and perpendicular lines on the coordinate plane, which means we're putting coordinates to each of the lines to figure out are they parallel or are they perpendicular. So if you remember back to algebra, we have four quadrants. We have quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. 0, 0, remember, is called the origin. To find slope, you do rise over run, and every point has an x, and every point has a y. The equation of a line in slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. M represents your slope, b represents your y-intercept. You have rise over run, or you have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Let's remember back to algebra, and at the beginning of this semester, we talked about how to find the slope. There was a couple ways we did it, and my favorite is the table. It's just easier to organize your thoughts. So here you have to find the jump. So how many units is it from -6 all the way up to 12, and it's a positive 18. Here, how many units is it from 3 down to -7, and you're going down, so it's negative, and it's a -10. So you do y over x, so your y value is -10, your x value is 18. Here you have, if you simplify, you can divide by 2, which gives you -5 over 9. So the slope is -5 over 9. Same thing here. 0, 4, 6, 4. How many units does it take to get from 0 to 6? You go up 6, and 4 to 4, there's no movement. So you have y over x, and since 0 is in the numerator, you're going to have a slope of 0. If you have 0 in the denominator like we do in C, so from 4 to 4 is 0, and then from 5 to -7 is -12. Here you have -12 over 0, which gives you undefined. So if your 0 is in the numerator, your slope is 0. If 0 is in the denominator, you have an undefined slope. So here are pictures of what those slopes look like. If you have a slope going up from left to right, that is a positive slope. If you have a slope going from left to right going down, then you have a negative slope. If it's horizontal, it's a 0 slope. There's no movement, 0. If it's up and down, it's undefined. So here are some postulates or rules that we have to follow in geometry. It says if two lines have the same slope, then the lines are parallel. Two lines have the same slope, then the lines are parallel. So here we have 412 and 0, 4, and here we have 0, 3 and 4, 2. Let's find the slope of line P and the slope of line N. So let's use our tables. We have 0, 4 and 4, 12. To get from 0 to 4, it's plus 4, and from 4 to 12 is plus 8. So you have 8 over 4 or 2. Okay, so line P has a slope of 2. In line N, we have 3, 0 and 4, 2. Doesn't matter what order you put them in as long as you have one x and one y, x and y. From 3 to 4 is 1, 0 to 2 is 2, so you have 2 over 1 or 2. So since both of these have the same slope, those two lines are parallel. So try this next example. To find the slope of each line, again, we'll find the slope of line K and the slope of line J. Line K is -1, 4, -4, -3. So to get from -1 to -4, you went down 3, and from 4 to -3 is down 7. So your slope is -7, -3, or +7, +3. Two negatives make a positive. For line J, you have 3, 1, and 2, -1. So from 3 to 2 is -1, and from 1 to -1 is -2. So you have -2 over -1, which gives you a +2. Are those the same? They're not the same, therefore they are not parallel. Here Here's another postulate or rule. It says if two lines are perpendicular in a coordinate plane, then their slopes are opposite reciprocal, which means the product of their slope is 1. So in these three examples, it says find the opposite reciprocal. Opposite reciprocal means that since in this example number 1, 1 is negative, it's now going to be positive. And reciprocal means that whatever is on the top is now on the bottom, and what's on the bottom is now on the top. So the opposite reciprocal of -1 is 1. In example 2, it'd be negative, because this one's positive, 3 over 2. And in the last one, since it's negative, it's positive, 5 over 1. So you have to have opposite reciprocals in order to have perpendicular lines. So this is what they would look like if they were perpendicular. So let's take a look at these two lines. It says decide whether the lines are perpendicular. So again, we always find slope. 0, 3, 3, 1. From 0 to 3 is plus 3. From 3 to 1 is minus 2. This slope is negative 2 over 3. For line F and line G to be perpendicular, line G must have, this is what we want, it must have a slope of 3 over 2, positive. If it does not have this slope, then it is not perpendicular. So let's find out. Here we have -4, -3, 0, 3. To get from -4 to 0, you add 4. To get from -3 to 3, you add 6. So here you have 6 over 4, which simplifies to 3 over 2. Is that what we wanted? If it is, then line F is perpendicular to line G. So take a second and try this one. Line 1 and line 2, are they perpendicular? You have 1 and 8, 1 and -2. Here you have plus 0 and then minus 10. So you have minus 10 over 0. This is undefined. An undefined slope, its opposite reciprocal is a 0 slope. So what we're looking for is if line 2 has a 0 slope. If it does, then they are perpendicular. If it does not have a 0 slope, then it is not perpendicular. So let's try line 2. Here we have -4, 7 and 2, 7. To get from -4 to 2, you have to add 6. And to get from 7 to 7, you add 0. So here is 0 over 6 or 0. Since undefined and 0 are opposite reciprocal, then they are parallel. So line 1, or perpendicular, I'm sorry, is perpendicular to line 2. We're going to do this first example. It says decide whether line WT and line HS are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So here's WT, so this is the first slope we're going to do. To get from -1 to 3, you add 4. And to get from -5 to 6, you add 11. So here you have 11 over 4. HS has a slope of, well, let's find it. So -5 to 1 is plus 4, and -9 to 2 is plus 11, 11 over 4. So looking at these two slopes, are they the same, or are they opposite reciprocal, or are they just two numbers? In this case, they are the same. So line WT is parallel to line HS. What I want you to do is start your homework. Your homework is 62 through 73. If you have any questions, please come up and ask.